All right. So, welcome everybody. I'm hoping that we've had some time and we've been able to go into our modules and check things out. Well, firstly, I'm hoping that we watched our welcome video. Yeah, we were getting familiar kind of with our course and what needs to be done. We've gone in and we've watched our first week one overview video. So, hopefully, we've had a chance to go through that. And this video, guys, is to go through our first in-class tutorial together. Okay, so being said, got a few things to cover off. As mentioned, we discussed in the last video about utilizing our folio and where it can be found and how we can upload that. And we'll get to that at the very end of this tutorial together, okay? And so, aside from that, we have gone through our weekly lecture as per the overview video. We are going to be utilizing this color theme tool website, which is amazing. You guys can go in and we'll do this together, okay? And we will go in, we'll pick the colors that we'll be utilizing for our brainstorming, because that's really what today is all about. This lecture is all about anyway. Okay, so sound good? Let's have a look here, everybody. This, of course, is where you've clicked into and where you found this this tutorial, and you're watching it now. So everything is good there. Now, a few things. Let's go here and begin with our first instructions. Yeah. So we've gone through this in our PDF. I went through it in the PDF in our weekly. I've basically what I've done, just so you guys are aware, I've just brought forward all the instructions here in a text form. And that way you can also go in and read this, right? So and not only is it in the PDF, and we went over it in our past or in our last video, but you've also got the instructions here and they're clear and called out so that we can follow along and get them done. Sound good? So this is what we need to do today. The instructions, as mentioned, fairly straightforward. But we need to go in and we need to create a few things. So I gave you 2 template pages. Okay, we're going to begin in InDesign today. All right, so we're going to we're basically creating a mood board, and maybe you guys have heard that term before, and if you haven't, it's all good. This, in essence, is what we're going to be doing. This is going to be at page 1 of our first mood board that we're going to create. Now, in doing a mood board or doing this inspiration or doing this self-discovery exercise, I'm hoping that we will go in and we will find out maybe something we didn't realize about ourselves, and maybe not. Maybe things that, right, will just paint a clearer picture for our overall portfolio. And that's really the purpose of this exercise, to go on. And really what we're going to be doing is going into Google Images, having some fun. We're going to be investigating pictures that you find inspirational. You will notice that as per the instructions, they're clear and call out exactly as the sections are located here on our templates. We're going to create these templates together. Okay, and that's kind of the whole purpose of this exercise, to create the template, get used. I know we have had a semester, so we should be familiar with InDesign by now. And we will go in and make in some simple text boxes. We'll make some simple boxes for our pictures. And really, we'll spend most of the time, honestly, in Google Images searching out some really cool pictures that resonate with us. And that's really the purpose. Sound good? So that's where we need to begin. Now, aside from that, you guys may be aware that within each of your assignments, and I've just brought this forward, so I want to discuss this real quick for you. Your benchmarks are all right here for you. So if you haven't had a look yet, I mentioned it in the welcome video, but your benchmarks are all called out here. Okay, pretty straightforward. You guys will notice, and if you haven't already, your benchmarks or your in-class in these tutorials that we're doing together are going to be worth 80% of your mark overall. So quite a bit of your mark is weighted on these assignments, and of course make up the bulk of what we do, because each one of these assignments will be a portion of that portfolio that we're going to bring together, right? You'll find at the very end, your final submission, your final portfolio, the print, and then also the digital will be weighed out at 10%. Okay, so that's going to be 5% for your digital, 5% for your print. And then we have professional conduct, everyone, and that is just basically, have we gone through, completed all of our assignments? Have we been in class? Have we made effort? This professional conduct or professional etiquette mark is more based on, think about it as would I give you a reference? That's really how I look at this professional conduct. So if I know your name, if you've been a positive person within class, you've made the effort overall. And if you came to me and asked for you came to me and asked, would I? Yeah, and that's really what that mark is about. So just keep that in mind. So let's get into this. What do we need to do? Back to our modules. Let's go back into it. As mentioned, there were a few things that we needed to look at. First thing, let's have a look at InDesign, because that's where we're going to begin. So you guys will notice, as per the instructions, noted a few different places. You've got it in the instructions, of course, in this weekly overview, which is found right here in that lecture PDF that we looked at in the first video. You've also got the instructions, as mentioned, right here within. So you found those instructions in two different places, so we're golden, yeah? We are opening up these two. So first thing we need to do, guys, called out here, I need you to create an InDesign document with 2 pages set at 11:17, and I want us to have a 1-inch margin, okay? And that's where we're gonna begin. Are we ready? Okay, let's get to it. So guys, everyone, let's go in and we're gonna open up InDesign if you could. And if you guys can follow along with me, we will get this completed together. We'll get it submitted and everything will be golden. Sorry to take a step back. If you guys go into your assignments, and always a good thing to do, if you go into benchmark 1 assignment and click into the assignment, you guys will notice as, how the rubric will be set up for each of your assignments. The majority, I don't know that the majority, but some of your assignments will be a matter of, did you do it? Yeah. I think for, 70% of this, this course, did you do the work? Yeah. Like, meaning, is it fully complete? So as per the instructions, this is, I completed it 100% or I missed an item. So that being said, on each of the instructions, you get 1 mark. And there are 10 overall instructions. So you either completed it fully or you missed something. Okay, so it's really important that we go through and we just complete this 100% fully. And that will just get us the mark. Yeah, sound good? So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. We'll come back, but let's get started with this. And what I need everyone to do is open up your InDesign and we're going to create new. All right. So you guys may have custom, you may have print or web or whatever you may be. You may have nothing right here, and let's pretend like you have nothing right here, and that's totally fine. And we will do this together. So what I'd like you to do is let's get started. We'll call this out as benchmark 1, right? And we will call this self-discovery maybe, right? Just like so. Good? Awesome. So we have a benchmark 1 self-discovery. For your width, you'll notice, well, first off, make sure that we're here in inches, okay? Extremely important. We've been working with inches for the past semester, so we should be familiar with that. Go ahead, type in 17. You can hit the tab button, and that will then get you down, and we'll make that 11. Okay, so depending on where you were at, you'll notice that you can, obviously, you guys are aware, you can switch back and forth from portrait to landscape at any time. We want this to be long 17, 11 high, yeah? I do not want facing pages on, so you can turn that off, okay? We'll get to facing pages when we get into our main portfolio, but not for now. But what we will do is let's do pages 1, okay? And we'll start at 1, which is great, okay? I only want 1 column, no more, yeah? And then what you may see, let me just bring this down, right? Open it up so we can see all of our settings here. We've got a few things. Let me just go back. Some of us may have something that looks like this with these drop downs, right? Our margins and our bleeds. So we need to look at this and be very aware of what's going on. So margins, yeah? Let's click our margins down. you will notice as per the instructions, I needed a 1-inch margin. If you change that to 1 and you hit tab, you'll notice that they should all change, okay? If you hit tab and not all of them changed, it's possible that your link is broken, and that will allow you to change up your margins either top, right? And the most times, and your default, I believe, is set to be linked, so you're good there. Okay, your bleed. Always good to have bleed on. So let's go in and put 0.125 for our bleed as our minimums. Okay, and that's good. Slugs at 0 is fine. If you guys hit this preview checkbox, this is kind of neat. It will then give you a quick preview over here to the left, which is amazing. And this is will allow me to kind of see what I've got going on. This is a beautiful setup. It's letting me know that I'm ready to rock. If I move my page here, you can actually check out some of these settings, right? And make sure that you are in line. Everything looks good with that now. If I there's my 1117, right? Looks nice. And I can go ahead and hit create. So there we go. We've got 1:11:17 ready to rock and roll, right? We know that if we hit the space bar, we can move around. That's our first shortcut that we've used, right? Awesome. If we hit spacebar command, that will be our zoom in and zoom, right? Or zoom in. And then spacebar command option is zoom out. Yeah, awesome. And those are the ones that I use. You may have scrubby zoom turned on, which means if you do your spacebar command or spacebar control, depending on if you're on a Mac or a PC, you can do your zoom in and out, right? And that's with your scrubby zoom on. I have my scrubby zoom turned off, which means that I hit my spacebar, and depending again, Mac or PC, spacebar command or spacebar control. I believe it's option on a PC. Anyway, regardless, let's get into it. Spacebar control, zoom in. And I'm going to do this for everyone. Let's start here. Workspace, yeah? So you'll notice that I have some workspaces that I've created and that I've saved. For the purpose of this course, I would recommend maybe we go into our essentials, okay? So if we go into our essentials workspace together, if you want to do that, window, workspace, and I'm going to go to reset essentials to get us back. There we go. This is beautiful. So we've got properties over to our left, okay, or to our right. We've got pages, which will be extremely important, okay. And then we've got CC libraries. We won't be utilizing that throughout this course, but it's a great thing. So libraries are amazing. So properties and pages, yeah? Okay, great. So one thing I'm like you guys to do though is turn your control on, which is right here, okay? So we'll go control, yeah. So control is this bar across the top, really important and really handy, okay? What I'm gonna suggest is I may break our pages out like so and keep our properties there and keep our pages front and center because pages are really important and they're gonna be something that we utilize quite a bit. I may actually go like that and just lock it in. Notice how I can grab, you guys may or may not know that you can just grab these tabs, right? And you can click, drag, and drop wherever you'd like them to be. So something like that is really nice. I've got my properties, my CC libraries. Again, don't really need those, but this is really important. These are really important. And now my pages are here and I can utilize them, which is really important. Not so much for this exercise. I've only got 2 pages, but when we get into your overall portfolio, it's going to be essential, yeah? So there we go. We've got our overall template ready to rock and roll. Good. So if we go back and I have a look into my module for a sec, we need to have a look at our overall template. So we had a look at them already. I'm just going to do it one more time. I'm going to go into this module here. And I'm going to open up template page 1 because this is what we need to duplicate. And I'm going to open it up. Okay, there we go. So this is it. Really just a lot of pictures, right? A lot of picture boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? We're going to just give it, each of these we're going to give it a little title to. We're going to give a overall title, hierarchy of type, everyone. So make sure that we have titles, or titles are nice and big typically, and then our other information a little smaller. So I'm going to start here, and I just need a text box for your story, assignment 1 template. Yeah. So let's go in, and now to begin, what I'm going to do is text. Yeah. So let's go in. I'm going to create a text box, and I'm going to go spacebar. I guess we can do it right here, actually. So click and drag, and I want to just create that text box like so. Okay. So if I have this open here to the left, let's have a look. I want to stay within the 1-inch margin. Notice how all these boxes and everything is living within the margin that I created. It gives us a really nice space around, and I treat my margins very similar to how photographers and paintings, etc., treat their like a matting on a frame, right? So that's how I look at your margin. You may want to keep that in mind when we get into, and I'll mention it multiple times, this margin is extremely important to keep things right away from the edge so that it doesn't create anxiety. So here we go. We've then created a text box, yeah? And so you'll notice the text box right when we click on it and create it, it's going to give us that cursor, right? So there we go. Our cursor's going. What I need you to do is your story, right? So type out your story, and we're going to do assignment 1 template, right? Awesome. And we'll just hit good. So it's a template 1 assignment. All right, good. So that's nice and easy, right? I may go in, you'll notice that I used not a Serif font, which I have here, right? Mini and Pro is what I have as a default, okay? I don't want Mini and Pro. I went in and let's go in and make that a little bit more, let's do this. Acumen is one of my favorite ones. So I'm gonna do ACU. So if I go in here, everyone, and I type ACU, that will then get me to the fonts that are ACU. So Acumen variable concept should come up for you. It is a variable font, which is really cool. And maybe you have touched on variable fonts. I love variable fonts. They're so neat. They give you the ability to create all these different condensed extra lights, thin semi-bolds. Check out all of the font family that's within it. Now, the variable, though, allows me to check this out. Notice how I can do my weight back and forth to super, super thin. And then it also goes to a black, right? I can change my width, right? So the overall width of the font can be altered. And then I can also do an italicized and actually do a mid italics, which is fantastic. So play around. If variable fonts are amazing, fairly new, as per like a few, they just introduced them very recently, or I guess depending on when you're watching this video. They are a fairly new font type, but they're so absolutely awesome. So anyway, Acumen, variable font. I'm gonna go in and maybe adjust this. Here's where we can adjust our font size, right? I'm at 12 points, and what I'm gonna do is go in and let's make that say 24. Awesome, okay? So now I've got a 24 point Acumen variable. I may go in and grab my assignment along, and notice how I'm just using the type tool here. Click, select on that portion of copy, and what I'm going to do is bring that down, maybe make it, let's make it 18 points. There we go. So I just made your story nice and big, yeah, and the assignment template a little smaller. Good, nice and easy start to this, right? That's beauty, right? So that's that. What we're going to do is let's see if we can't create a name text box over here. So if you want to try this with me, I'm going to go in, maybe use my black arrow, and I'm going to grab this text box over here. And I'm going to hit Option. Guys, now Option, what you're going to find is with my black arrow on, if you click on that box and you hold Option, it will then bring you to the double arrow. And the double arrow will allow you to make a duplicate really quickly. So notice how I did that. So try that again. Black arrow, Option, click and drag. And I'd like you to drag it, and I want you to just bring that text box so that it's butted up against the other guy here, okay? You may, at this time, want to go in and go into your guides, grids and guides, and I would like you to turn Snap to Guide and Smart Guides on, okay? So View, Guides, Grids, Guides, Snap to, and Smart. Okay, so Control or Command U is your Smart Guide on and off, and I use that quite a bit. So I'll go here, and now this will snap, snap, snap. Beautiful. Now what we can do is I'm going to change this from a left justification to a right justification, okay? Now in order to do that, I'm going to go into my type tool, like so, all right? And then you'll have your justification over here, right? And so I want it to be right justified up here, okay? You can also get into it if you want to bring it forward. You'll notice you have your A and your paragraph, right? So that'll allow me to center, right, and left, yeah? So we're going to go right. And then for this, what we'll do is we will go your name, right? Because that is part of the there. And put your name in here if you could. Amazing. Good. So we got the makings of the beginning template. All right. So we've got your name, and now you'll notice that I have a few things here. I've got 10 images, pictures that interest you. Good. So maybe we'll just kind of do that, and I can utilize this text box if I'd like. Okay. Actually, you know what? No, let's create a separate text box because I'm just going to utilize that and bring it down here when I'm ready. Okay, so I'm going to go here, just create another simple text box. You'll have the blinker going. I want you to do 1, okay? And then minimum of 10 random pictures that interest you, okay? Gotcha, cool, nice and easy, yeah? So this is kind of neat. If I want to go in and create that same font, I can go in and use the eyedropper here, okay? And I can click, all right, on that font. So, sorry, let's try that again. I'm gonna click off of everything, okay? So everything's deselected. I'm gonna use the eyedropper. I'm gonna click, and notice what happens is my eyedropper becomes an eyedropper going the other way. This is kind of neat. And if I hover over top of the text box, select, so click, don't hold down your mouse, don't let go. Drag and notice I'm selecting, and what's going to happen is it will then change that copy to that selected copy, which is kind of neat. Of course, what we could do if you're like, oh man, that was crazy, why, that's too much work, right? You can of course select on the text box, go in, right? And then I could go into my Acumen knowing that it's ACU, right? And then I can just change it like so if I so choose. So 2 different ways. The eyedropper though is neat, especially if I had copy used in multiple places. I could then go select, click, and then click, 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 click after selecting on it using the eyedropper. And it will then do them like you can do multiple selections and changes, which is kind of nice. So that is that. We've got 10 random pictures that interest you in that text box, and we'll get there. Let's go here though. I'm going to do this. Command C, Command V is copy paste. You can try that, and that'll get you to there. And then you can of course go and with your smart guides on, it should snap to, and also you'll find that it aligned it. See that? Kind of neat. The alignment comes up as centered. Okay, so you can do that and get it placed like that, or you can do this, Command, click. All right, so that's selected, or you can do black arrow for this if you want to try. Black arrow select. Now hold the Option key down. The Option is duplicate like we did here before. Option, click and drag, and I just want you to place that right there. All right, good. So we basically have our text boxes ready to rock, and what I'm going to do here, of course, is put 2, and we need a minimum of 5 works of art, right? That move you. Good. So we're kind of putting the instructions right here, so it's it's going to be simple to know that we've got everything as per, right? Now what we're going to do, and the bulk of the work really is going to be just searching out pictures, yeah, which isn't really a whole lot of work. So I'm hoping this will go nice and smoothly for you. Let's do a Command S. So a Command S or a file save, right? So file save. Awesome. And now, as we are doing this either with a flash drive, or maybe we're doing this from home, utilizing our laptop, or maybe utilizing our home computer, whether it be PC or Mac, I'm treating this as though we are going to work within the class together. Okay, so depending on how this course is laid out, what I'm going to start with here is go into my desktop. Okay, whether it be PC or Mac, I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to create a new folder. And since this is the beginning of our portfolio class, I'm going to keep this folder on my desktop for now. So portfolio class is what I'm going to call it. Okay, you can place that wherever you'd like, but for now, for this class, I'm going to keep this on my desktop. Again, depending on where we're at, where you happen to be, there are a few scenarios, whether you're doing this online only, whether you're doing this in class with me. Regardless, this is how we're going to treat it, okay? So do it like this if you'd like. As long as you know where to find your files, that's the most important thing. I'm going to go in and hit create, and I'm on my desktop portfolio class, and let's get organized. I'm going to do a new file, a new folder, okay? And now within portfolio class, I'm going to call this out as let's just call this out as benchmarks, okay? So in portfolio class, I'm creating a folder. I'm going to call it benchmarks. Now within this folder, I'm going to create another folder, and let's get organized as mentioned, benchmark 1, right? And we'll call this self-discovery. Awesome, okay? So benchmark 1, self-discovery, I'm going to create. Amazing. And this is where we're going to save this InDesign file, okay? And I'm going to hit save. Now that's going to be important to keep an eye on where this is, okay? Because we're going to be finding a ton of our pictures. So let's just go in and we are going to get some picture boxes like so. And so what I want to do is we're going to find, or we're going to do up 10 of them for this specific portion, right? And you'll notice here, right, 10 minimum, just random pictures. So this is going to be fun, and I'm actually going to really enjoy looking at these because these pictures are going to tell us, well, everything we do is going to tell a story, of course, about who you are, because that's the whole point of this. What I wanted to do though, do this with me now. I want you to go in, grab the frame tool here, and I'm going to just go here and create a rectangle like so, okay? Now, what I want you to do, just like we did before with the type and by holding Option and clicking and duplicating, we're going to do the exact same thing here. You guys will find I hit Tab quite a bit. My Tab key just hides everything for a second. It allows me to go full screen. So you may find that I go back and forth quite a bit like this because it's handy and I like to work full screen. That's just the Tab key. Okay, so we've selected on this box, if you could do that for me. I'm holding Option down, yeah? So black arrow, Option, click and drag. Amazing. Now, if I hold Option, click and drag, just like we did with the copy before, it creates a duplicate. What I want to do is hold, as I'm holding Option or Control, depending on if you're on a PC or a Mac. Control, I believe, is hold Shift now. Okay, so I haven't let go of my controller Option, but what I've done is I've held Shift down. Now, by holding Shift down, I've now duplicated and constrained it. And you'll notice by holding Shift, you can actually constrain it at 45s like so, which is kind of neat. So I'm going to do that again. Option or Control, click and drag. Now as you drag, hold Shift. Awesome. And I'm going to put it right about there. Now, there's this neat thing here in InDesign, and it's called Step and Repeat. Okay, or you'll notice that it's Shift Command U is the short key, or Control Shift U. I'm not going to do that. Let's just go Step and Repeat here for a second. Amazing. So we've got a count of how many do I want to count it of? Now, I know I've got 1, 2 already, and I want to go 5 across. So I need what, right? 3 more. So if I do a count of 3, and you do a preview on it here, kind of neat, what you're going to find is it will then create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes for me. Yeah. And notice how it remembers, because when I dragged and I dropped it over, it remembered that it was at 3.92, happened to be the distance I dragged it, which is kind of neat. So I'm going to hit OK. Good. So there we go. I've got my 5 boxes ready to go. What I'm going to do is use my black arrow, and I want you to select on those boxes. So select on all of them, right? So they're all selected. Okay. I want you to go to the center, horizontal or vertical. I want you to click and I want you to drag in. So we'll go here, click, don't let go, drag inward. Yay, cool. So now what we're doing is we're just creating 5 simple picture boxes at equal spacing. Yeah, good. So that was nice and simple. So black arrow, select, option, click, drag. Ah, great. You'll find that because we have our smart guides on, look at all of the grids that are popping up for me. That's just making sure that it keeps it 100% centered. Let's do that again. I'm going to select on those boxes, option, click and drag, and I will stop right there. And that actually is centered right on the center mark of the page itself overall, which is kind of neat. Let's try that one more time because I have 5 pictures that I need down here. So I'm going to go option, click, drag, and keep in mind I have my black arrow selected. And there we go. We basically officially got our first page set up. Now, half the work is done. Now what we have to do is go on Google and just find some fun pictures that are going to match what we have here. So let's do one together, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe do 2 together. And then what I'm going to do is you guys, of course, will go in. You're going to find pictures, of course, that relate to you. It's really important. And we're going to go in and place them now in these boxes. So first one is, again, random pictures. Woo-wee! So random pictures. Where are we going to find random pictures? Well, we're on Google. Let's go in. I may suggest, let's do, hey, random pictures. Now you guys go in, pick random pictures, yeah? And you can go through and right away going into images, we've got holy heck random pictures. Okay, yeah, these are random. So go in and I want you to now grab 10 pictures that you're drawn to. If you're finding that you can't find any of these that are really of interest to you, these are really kind of neat. How cool is that? I like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to click on this picture. How cool. If you've never clicked on this before, Unsplash is an amazing site. These are copyrightable, royalty free, meaning you can use them, copyright free, meaning you can use these pictures without the use of being penalized or brought to court. You can use these for your own self-promotion. You can use these not so much in your portfolio because we want you to, of course, put works of your own within your portfolio. But can be used for, say, if you're doing an editorial for somebody and you want a picture to utilize it. And this is cool. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to just grab this picture. Few ways that I can get this picture, of course, utilizing Unsplash. You can go into download. Okay. So let's just do that. I'm sure we all know how to save an image from online, and that's really all I need you to do. What I'm going to ask you to do though is let's go to save file. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm right clicking, I'm saving as. Okay, you can do it that way. In this case, this comes up with a download from online, regardless of how you get there. I'm going to save file. Okay. And then I'm going to go in and it's going to download for me here, right? So typically your files, when you download a picture, they're going to go into your downloads folder, right? Whether it be on a PC or a Mac, right? So we need to locate where our downloads folder is and have an eye out. Okay, so I've got them here. Another way that we can do this, everyone, if you want, and maybe to make it easier on yourself, we have our portfolio. In my desktop here for a second. We have our portfolio folder that's here, and I might just move everything over here for a sec. This is maybe how I would suggest you go about doing this, because this is only for preview purposes only. It's not for print. We're not going to go in and print any of this stuff, right? I may suggest you do something like this. You can, of course, go in and download them, right? And you can click on an image like so, and then you can do a save as, right? So save image as. And then, of course, I can save to desktop like so, right? And that may be a good way to go about it, right? So I save that to my desktop and here it is. So whether you download it and save it to your downloads folder, or whether you right click, save as, You can do that. Another option, this is kind of neat. I like this picture. This is cool, right? I may go in and I may view image or copy image, sorry, view image, right? And then you may do something like this. Command Shift 4 is our screenshot. And I may go here and take a screenshot of that picture. Yeah, cool. So there's so many ways we can get to grabbing pictures. Okay, so I'm gonna end the video there. I'm going to come back and we're gonna continue our tutorial. And I will show you how to place these images in here. And that'll be good. So that will be our first video. Thanks for sticking in. I'll be back with another tutorial and that will then complete our second. We'll get this page completed. I will have the majority of it completed when we come back though, because this is going to be a lot of duplication. I don't think you need me to go through 10 different instances. But when we come back, I will do maybe the last 2 together and maybe we'll do one of these together. Sound good? Okay, everyone, I will be back shortly. Take care.